also gonna get YouTube content where you can get a big wheel and pigs all in one.
Alrighty, coming to you guys from the dashboard of my brother's truck because I'm stuck in traffic after picking up my newest unit. Check it out. Behind me on the deck there, we have something I already have, but you know, if you have one rare old Yamaha dirt bike, you might as well have two. So I'm gonna try and get through this traffic and get home and show you guys what I got. It's next morning, beautiful day, and we have an even more beautiful machine sitting on the deck here. So what is this thing? It's kind of ugly, isn't it? It's a 1986 Yamaha BW200 ES, I think. It's painted green. I almost didn't go look at it specifically because it was spray painted. I hate spray painted plastics, but whatever. This thing is packing a lot more important stuff than just the paint. So any real big wheel guy will know this is not right. That is a TTR 225 motor, which is a very popular swap for these because they go right in. And since this bike was an originally electric start bike, that meant that this frame was not modified in any way for this motor to go in here. So he's got the motor in there. The guy told me it's been rebuilt top and bottom end, all new bearings, rings, piston, rod, everything. It is, like I said, electric start, which is very nice. Sadly, it's not also kickstart. I wish it was. It has aftermarket rear shocks, springs, whatever you want to call them. The front forks have been rebuilt and were powder coated. The wheels are painted. I think the wheels are painted. There's a lot of parts that are painted, powder coated. Some parts are Cerakoted, which is what they use for the plastics. But back on task, we have brand new wheels and tires. These are very similar tires to what would have come on it when they were new, like pattern wise, but the rear is a little bit larger than stock. What else can I say about this thing? It came with a ton of parts. Got some fenders, the seat, all that jazz, and a whole box of goodies there we'll get into in a minute. So I have been looking off and on for another one of these. My other big wheel's completely stock. I rode it for about 5 years and it had plenty of issues. I had to rebuild the engine, do a bunch of stuff just because I rode the heck out of it and I loved it. Every time you ride it, someone's asking what the hell it is. They're just a lot of fun. They're a blast. So I always keep my eye out. I have an 80 and a 200. I was really looking for a 350. Didn't find that. They're really tough to find, but another 200 will be sweet. Because I'm hoping I can convince my girlfriend to ride this one since she's expressed interest in riding dirt bikes with me. So at least that's what I'm going to tell her. That's why I bought it. Anyway, so what does this thing need? So it does run. The guy showed me yesterday. I'll get it down from here and jump start it so you guys can see it as well. It needs the exhaust built. And I need to reinstall the fenders. And it should be ready to go for a little ride. I also need to put a seat cover on the seat, which he gave me. And yeah, so he basically restored it about 3 years ago, rode it a little bit. I hope he didn't ride it too much because he said he used to ride it with the straight pipe, which is horrible for dirt bikes. Don't ever do that. Always run a muffler on your dirt bikes and four-wheelers, people. It's simple. So hopefully he didn't ride it much. He said he didn't ride it much, and then it just kind of sat around. He had some kids and decided he needed to sell this thing. So I got this thing for $1,300. It's the cheapest running big wheel I've seen probably ever, even though it is kind of a, I don't know what you want to call this thing, a little Frankenstein machine with a different engine. Some people don't like that, but I've always wanted to do this to mine. I just never could find a TTR, and I never wanted to butcher mine since it is original. So that's enough blabbering on. Let's get it off of here and see if we can get it fired up for you guys. Alrighty, well, I figured if any place is a good place to try and get this thing to fire up for you guys, it would be in front of the 80s lifted square body Suburban. Maybe they can reminisce a little bit. So we got a jump pack hooked up to the starter, and I will admit I just filmed for like 20 minutes trying to get this thing to run, and it wouldn't even pop over. And I figured out that the kill switch up here is backwards for whatever reason. So that was a good waste of time. Let's see if we can get it fired up now, though. Yeah, it's loud as heck. All right, well, now that we got it running, let's see what kind of goodies we have to make it better. So we have a rear tail light, Brand new seat cover, which is awesome. 2 white side panels. A brand new headlight bezel. Looks like the factory rear shocks. We got 2 of them. One's repainted, one's not. In here is something that's super handy for this big wheel or my other one. These are the bushings. They're kind of like cams, basically, that go in the swing arm bushings. And this is what actually adjusts that front chain. So I'll show you guys. This thing has 2 chains. It was a big pitfall of these machines, in my opinion. I think that's the one place Yamaha went wrong, but that's the little tool you need. This is like $200 or $300 worth of parts right here. So I'm gonna either, if this one doesn't need it, I'm definitely gonna throw it on my other big wheel because it needs it bad. So that's awesome. That came from BW parts. Or sorry, Fat Tire Conversions. We've got some exhaust parts. These are all way too big a diameter for it, but I'll use them for something. We have a super janky homemade looking muffler with some piping that I'm hoping I can make this work temporarily. It's pretty rough, but as long as I can make it work for today. A bunch of old hardware. Sprocket covers, baggies, another brand new muffler. Maybe we can make that work. That looks too small a diameter though. That looks like a pit bike muffler. The original carb off that motor, he said there's a Chinese carburetor on it. It always works well, but I do have the original Mikuni. Looks like it's missing the choke though. But that's nice that I do have this. Get some bulbs, shock tool. This is a homemade tool for adjusting that swing arm tension. Looks like a coil. Yeah, just a bunch of good pieces and parts to have. We also got some, then we also have the original seat. We'll throw that cover on there. And 2 different sets of rear fenders and 1 original front fender that's all sketchy. And a can of paint of that original color. This is actually creme coat or whatever they call it by Brownell. It's made for painting guns, I guess. I don't know. Never used it, but it seems like decent stuff. I just wish it wasn't on plastic. Okay, so as you saw, it does in fact run. Before I run it any longer though, I want to get an exhaust on it because it is super loud. So we're going to use this janky thing. Now it looks like at one point this was on here, but it's going to be tough with the tire and it's not a slip-on, so maybe we'll see if we can use one of those other pieces of pipe that I found in the junk drawer and go from there. All right, so I just realized there is actually a slip on it just further up. So I'm gonna take this piece and weld it to that old muffler and see if that works. I assume it was set up like that. I know the guy said he had a muffler on it and got in the way of the tire. I guess that's probably this one. But even if it gets in the way of the tire, it'll work for today. Well, this is as close as we're gonna get to that exhaust pipe because I did some sketchy welding there. So this pipe is junk. There's nothing to it but that. I'm gonna end up cutting that off and rebuilding a complete exhaust system when I get this thing out to my shop in Iowa. But this is just a temporary for today flux core. Cap that rust and you can see this thing's junk. Anyway, that's enough excuses. Let's go stick it on the bike. All right, we got it halfway on there just to let's see if it works or not before I go ham installing it. Doesn't quiet it down much. That muffler does not do much muffling. But at least it'll put more restriction on the engine, which will be good so that I don't ruin the valves in this thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it slightly more attached and we'll see about going for a test ride. All right, off camera, I attempted to just put it in gear and go for a little ride. Ran into an issue. That spring rate is so soft that the exhaust binds up on the tire. So I'm gonna try and swap the old springs back on it just for now, maybe forever if that spring rate's that light. Looks like he's got them adjusted all the way down. And we'll try that. That is a bigger rear tire, lighter shocks, exhaust is stupidly routed. So I should have known that was gonna happen. All right, we'll fix that and try again. All right, so it's the next day. And as you can see, I got the seat set on there and an old fender, which I just noticed has this teardrop cut out for a pull tab, which is kind of cool. The only other thing I changed was I changed the aftermarket shocks off to throw these kind of stock ones on because I was running into an issue where it was sagging too much and my exhaust was hitting my tire. So we got that fixed now. I putted around a little bit, but I didn't film any. So got my buddy Steven here. And yeah, he likes to ride a lot. So we're gonna take it for a little cruise and see how it does. I hate bump start stuff. Oh, nice. The seat coming in done. Definitely needs a carb clean. I mean, it runs, but it doesn't run great. Sounds really good for a TPR engine. So this thing runs kind of crappy. Whenever you try and do like anything technical, it's just a handful. So we're kind of limited today, but I can still put it around. Probably needs a carb clean. It sat for 2 years, the guy said.
rebuilt them, but those front forks feel really stiff. Those pigs have probably never seen a dirt bike before. So the clutch, I guess, is adjusted. Sometimes when I bump start it, it doesn't take, so I need to adjust that. And it runs really good without the choke for like a minute, and then you need to put the choke back on. So something's going on in the carburetor or air filter box. I gotta figure that out. Steven is Steven's teaching pigs new things about dirt bikes and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, I might push you over. Look at it rubbing on there. Uh-oh.
Do I have names?
No, I don't think so. What's up, dudes and dudettes? It's kind of scary watching you walk over here at me.
Got crispy bacon, pork chop. That's the only pork steak name I know.
Oh yeah, even the pigs like big wheels. Whoa!
Yeah, they're going to
Yeah, they like rubbing. Yeah! Where else are you gonna get YouTube content where you can get a big wheel and pigs all in one?
We're flashing and we're going to be like the pigs and roll in the mud.
Jeez! Wow, imagine stalling your bike. Couldn't be me. Nice. What do you want? Why would you need that? No big deal. It's just a big wheel thing. It really is. Something that Pat probably won't put in his videos is that this thing has a dead battery and no kickstart because it's a TTR 225, and he keeps having to bump start the thing over and over again. So you see him down there, have a good time. Oh, usually it was always me who has had these problems, but you know. See if he gets it.
Nope.
All right, Beeman's on it now. He's got a little bit of a reputation for giving it. Pigs are kind of enjoying the spectacle. And it's getting ready to storm.
You having fun there, bud?
Yeah, I should have bought the $60 battery.
Yeah.
All right, so Steven just stalled out the top of the hill. That thing's being a real pain in the neck. It runs, but it doesn't run good. It needs some tuning. It needs a real exhaust. It needs a lot of things. So we got to do a little test ride on it. See if we can get it out of here now before the storm comes. Or before I get eaten by a pig. I can't quite get a balance. It's kind of a hard bike to wheelie. All right, well, it made it back under its own power, so that's a win in my book. He's going for it. Wow. Impressive. All right, so that's gonna call it on this video.
Are we done?
Yeah. So, I mean, for 1,200 bucks, that is by far the cheapest running big wheel I have seen for sale in years. So I think I got a killer deal on this thing. The TTR 225 seems like it has a lot more power than the stock 200. This thing seems really well put together. It really just needs a battery, a real exhaust, and the seat needs to actually be attached, which I knew all three of those things, but I don't have time to do them today, or really this week. So this bike's at my parents' farm in Maryland. It's gonna have to stay here for at least a few months before I can bring it out to Iowa and really revamp it, make it pretty, and make it super reliable. So this bike's definitely gonna be around, but it's gonna be a few months before I can do anything. So thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.